this week. Steve, how you doing?
Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man. Paul, nice to see you again, man.
Nice to see you guys.
Thanks for coming on again. And Cliff, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing good. It's Friday night where you guys are, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Cheers. Saturday morning over here. Cheers.
Breakfast of Champions, I see.
Oh, yeah. Always. So, as usual, if you're a regular guest, you know the format. We've all picked out 5 records we've been listening to over the past week or so. As usual, I didn't specify a genre or even a format, but I guess we're probably going to be showing records as usual. Although Paul did show some tapes once, and I did show a CD box set. So anything goes, you know. So, shall we get going? Let's get down to it, shall we? So as I'm looking at the screen here, I think I'm going to have Paul start us off today with his first pick.
All right.
So we'll
My
go
first
Paul, Cliff, Steve. Oh, that means I'm going last, which is okay.
Perfect. Again, thank you for having us on.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Good to see
just the energy has been so much fun to watch all of them like the next day and stuff and the crack ups.
It's been great. Every week it's great. It's like, you know, a little bit nervous on how's this week going to be, but it's always great. The guests are always great. It's a good time.
So my first pick is going to be this Ready for Death LP. It's been talked about before on here. I think even Nate Wilson was talking about the drumming, which is something that I hadn't noticed until he brought it to my attention because I was just listening to the thing overall. I love Artie Philly, great guy, perfect singer for all of these kinds of bands. Although I will say my favorite band he was ever in was the Shemps. But his voice, he does things with his voice. Like he changes per band. And these are guys from like Race Trader, right? Are in this.
And there's a guy from Pelican in the band too.
Yeah. I always think of like, are you familiar with the store Trader Joe's?
Yep.
I know
it's Race.
That's
I know
where
it's
we
Race. Yeah, so I know it's Race Trader, but I call it like Race Trader because I just imagine them up there in like Hawaiian shirts and they ring a bell whenever one of their overage fans like buys too many shirts and has to be walked out from the merch table kind of thing. But it's a fucking tight record, a great hardcore record. I'm more interested in to see what they do next because just listening to Artie's voice, I hope he goes back a little bit to sort of that Shemp style, just singing. I was with him at Maryland Death Fest, and I could tell how into this sort of vocal style he was from listening to those bands. But I kind of like his older style a little better, like the Indecision and Millhouse, and especially the Shemps. But this is my pick, and you here. Mike, if you wanna, I'm here. You're right above me, so if you just wanna,
excellent.
Yeah. So if you just want to borrow that,
how slick was that?
You can just borrow that, and then whenever you want to get it back to me.
No, maybe I'll lend it to Steve after I finish with it. This is a great record. It's a demo, though, right? It was originally like a demo tape that they decided to put out on vinyl. It's great.
Unfortunately, I got onto the website from the label that put that out and ended up like by the time I was done, I had like a cart of like $400 worth of shit. So I didn't realize that like Come to Grief and like on and like all of these bands around there. I was like, damn it. And then probably a few too many like whiskeys, and I was like, bye. And then I actually, oddly, I ended up buying 2 of those. So you dropped it and it fell. No, I actually that was like I have another copy. I've forgotten that I pre-ordered it. So then I have another one. So I'm going to see which one I think is prettier, and then keep that one and maybe just auction off that other one for free to somebody from where you're listening to.
Nice. I think this is a good time to reveal to the world that in a couple of weeks' time, I'm going to have all or most of the members of Ready for Death on this program on a Ready for Death special in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
Holy shit. I'm going to light up the chat.
There you go. There you go. All right. Cliff, what's your first pick today, mate?
My first pick, I picked this one because I knew Steve was coming on. And me and Steve have traded memes about this like for like when this came out, me and Steve were like trading memes back and forth for this for a while. But it's Kehkt, Pale Swordsman.
Pale Swordsman.
Yep, Pale Swordsman, Kehkt, and Kehkt, it translates to crying orc is his stage name. And if you can't tell, like, this dude looks pretty emo, pretty like he looks kind of like a middle schooler at like a family gathering when they gotta like background.
Where does the Pale Swordsman hail from?
He was in Ukraine. Now he's in Poland.
Okay.
But this is like raw ass black. Well, it's not that raw. It's got pretty decent production. It's purposefully raw. It's not accidentally raw.
It also has a lot of pretty parts.
What's that?
I said it also has a lot of pretty parts.
It's got a lot of really pretty parts.
That's the crying orc part.
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally got like a straight up emo song, but I kind of like it for some reason. Wow. And it is a really good record. It's probably one of the more interesting like records in this style I've heard. Almost had an accident. But I waited like a good like 6 months to get this when I pre-ordered it. Like I pre-ordered it like 6 months ago, and it just came like right before Christmas. So I've been listening to it a whole bunch.
Yeah, me and all my friends in Philly were playing that same game. We'd all be texting each other every day, like, I got my shipping notification. Did you? Like, mine showed up today.
Yep. And yeah, I think I might have been in that circle because I was showing mine and stuff on Instagram and stuff. But I was stoked to get this record.
Is that a one-man band?
Yeah, it's a one-man band.
All right.
Yeah, one-man band. An interesting thing about this is it kind of sounds like a trashed record because he put like all the crackles in the production for some reason. And I know this because I listened to it on Spotify a ton, and it still has crackles on it.
All the pops and crackles.
For some reason it works with this album. Like any other album I'd be like, that's cheesy as hell, but I don't know, I like it on here.
Does the emo song, does it fit in with the record, or is it like the Batman theme at the end of the first Jam record? Like just kind of
no,
you know
it
what I mean?
It fits in because it kind of like the lyrics all tell a story, and that's like the ending of the story, kind of. You know what I mean? So it does work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good record. It's interesting. It's definitely like if anything, it's an interesting record. Even if it's not your cup of tea, it's going to be something different.
Right. That's a new one to me for sure.
Definitely has gotten a lot of plays over here since November when mine showed up. So a good pick, yeah.
Nice. All right, we've got a few people in the comments. Subupste, which I think is Gen from LA. How you doing? Low Noise Jason Skills is here. Hey, what's up, guys?
That's one of my YouTube buddies.
There you go.
Nice.
And Stephen Willis says he's arrived. So, thanks for arriving.
He's arrived.
All right, Steve, what you got, man? Your first pick.
All right. Well, my first pick tonight is going to be my cat. She makes some pretty cool purring noises. No, but actually, so my first pick, this is something I just got in the mail from Discogs this week, and I was very excited. It's the first record by Bethlehem, German black doom metal band. The record's called Dark Metal. And I just picked this up, actually. It's a reissue that just came out this year on Prophecy Productions. And I got my hands on this because I was actually talking to a friend earlier this week, and we were talking about DSBM. Mike, do you know what that is?
DSBM.
I know that Bobby had to teach you about
how to slap you around.
Do DSBM on today's show.
Should I raise my hand?
I know. Please answer this very difficult question on my behalf.
It's a depressive, suicidal black metal.
Yeah, a real.
I thought that was where you pay someone just to like knock you around a room and to get you off or something.
It's close.
It's close. Yeah.
There is a lot of self-mutilation still going on within the genre, but I like their early work is a very definitive part of this genre. For their first 3 records, they had a different singer each record, and somehow each new singer sounded more insane and suicidal than the previous one. So this is the very first record, and this already sounds crazy, and then it just gets worse from there. But I was so excited after I told a friend about it. I had it on CD, but it's always been something I wanted on vinyl, and it goes for like $300 for original copy. So I just checked Discogs, and I saw that this reissue had just come out this year, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need that now. So literally just came in the mail this week. I've been listening to it nonstop. Very excited to share this record with my friends, old and new. And if you like doom metal, if you like black metal, highly recommend this record. It's got some great riffs, great production, just absolutely crushing atmosphere.
It's a great record.
Just double check. Bethlehem is the name of the band, right, Steve?
Yes, correct.
Bethlehem.
And dark metal.
Dark metal.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, they're actually still active today. I think at this point, they only have a couple original members, and they're kind of doing more of that like industrial metal kind of sound.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, the early stuff is very steeped in like black and doom metal, and very rewarding stuff. Like if you like bands like Asunder or stuff like that, or even Corrupted over in Japan, stuff like that. I think you would probably dig some of the stuff these guys are putting down. But they mix it up. They did the fast and the slow, so it's nice.
Cool.
And like I said, singer just sounds like an absolute maniac the whole time. So can be a make or break for a lot of people.
I think the real question is, do they have an emo song on the record?
I mean, they do sound very emotional about what they're singing about. So I guess by default, yeah, it's kind of emo. But I think the later singers, I think, probably even get because they really have like the high pitched wailing vocals, and I think that gets closer to like he literally sounds like he's crying on the record. So
that's awesome. I wrote it down. I'm going to check it out.
Bethlehem. All right, nice. So Eric Brown's joined us. Says thanks for doing this. He's got his pen and paper. He says he's taking notes. Eric Brown, friend of me. Yeah. Cheers for joining, Eric.
Thanks I know that guy.
All right.
Actually,
I guess it's my turn, right? It's my turn.
Yeah.
My turn. Let me have a little sip. All right. I'm going to go back to 1977.
Ooh.
For my first pick. LA, 1977. A thick slab of molten metal from 1977 out of LA. You ready for this one? Bad Axe.
Nice.
I already love the cover.
Classic cover. You know it's going to be great as soon as you set your eyes on it. I found this in a store here about 10 years ago or so. Didn't know anything about it. Just grabbed it because I knew it had to be good. And it was even better than I expected. So this is like, LA band from like 77, as I said. They put out one LP. And like, according to the interwebs, there was only 5 made, but I don't believe it. And then there was this reissue. There was a reissue. This is a reissue, obviously, 500 copies. But man, this is a great record. It's like a hard rock record, but it's so fiery. It's basically heavy metal. It's got like a bit of like new wave British heavy metal in there, even though these guys are from LA. Obviously, this predates all that anyway. Mm-hmm. A little bit of early Bloister Cult, a little bit in there, a bit of that in there, and maybe some like Salor Baltimore in there as well. Ooh, this is like a pretty wild record from 1977.
What's the average length of the songs on something like that?
I mean, pretty short. There's like 5 songs on each side.
Okay.
Pretty punchy. No really long songs. And I was thinking to myself, like, what other records, like what other like heavy rock records or heavy metal records came out in 1977? So it's like The Sweet off the record. Yeah, Ted Nugent, Cat Scratch Fever, Motorhead first album, Aerosmith, Draw the Line, Judas Priest, Sin After Sin. This doesn't really sound like any of those records.
Really? Sounds like Sweet, like something like that would be what
I would say if I had to choose one, it's probably closest to Ted Nugent, but don't let that put you off.
Okay.
But this is a really, really good record, especially side 1. Like side 2 sags a little bit in the middle.
I like the early Ted Nugent, like Amboy Dukes. when it was Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes stuff. That stuff's pretty good.
This is an interesting record because it's like, as I said, it's basically a hard rock record, but it's like so wild. It's pretty much heavy metal, and no blues.
If Nate Wilson was watching right now, he's jumping in his chair because that's like.
There's a little bit of lineage in there. The bassist went on to be in Vinnie Vincent's Invasion. This guy, Dana, and Slaughter. He was in Slaughter as well, and then the guitarist was went on to be in Bitch.
So was this a thing that you looked it up and then just got on the back cover?
Yeah, because I hadn't done any research on this until I was getting ready for this. So I was like, let's check out these guys. So yeah, Bitch, pretty important band. They were on Metal Blade, right? And they were on.
I think they were the first Metal Blade release, weren't they?
Possibly, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Does that cover like a lady, or like a foxy lady?
Yeah, I have
No,
it. I have it over there, but I'm not going to go
It
search.
is.
of the bitch record.
This is the axe, and then
All their
there's a
pictures, all
lady holding on to the axe, I guess. Don't
That's
know,
awesome.
but it's definitely like it's all hand drawn and everything. It's funny. There's like some like notes on the back. There's this guy Darcy Diamond from the L.A. Herald Examiner said in 1977. This is funny actually. It says the group's two performers. He's talking about the bassist and the guitarist. Have below the shoulder length locks, which they used like flag signals waving in a helicopter landing. Darcy
That's
Diamond
great.
from the and then apparently they were like voted LA's fourth best new group behind Foreigner, Cheap Trick and Lake, and then again after behind the Eagles and Van Halen. They were voted by the local radio stations in LA as the third best group.
So did they invent
wonder-
headbanging? Is that what it was? They invented headbanging, the windmill?
I think so,
Maybe.
yeah. But it's kind of funny to see that in like 1977. You know?
I wonder how long that guy was hanging on to that helicopter reference though. Like he'd just been dying to use it. Like
That's mine.
he's like, one of these days I'm gonna be able to use this.
Yeah. But it's
Below
funny
the
though, because
shoulder locks.
you have all these notes, and at the end it says, "And still couldn't get a major label deal," in like big capital letters.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it's very raw. They wouldn't have got signed to a major label with that sound. It's too raw. So there you go. Black Axe. That's my.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's good record. Yeah.
Wait, what was it called? Black Axe?
Black Axe. Bad Axe.
Okay. Sorry, I wrote it
Self-titled.
down.
And they have a single out too, but it's one of the tracks from this record.
Bad
All right.
acts, but they're actually a good act. So don't get
Very good. A Bad Axe. That's a good.
I'm next.
Yes.
Oh, so a lot of my stuff is still in storage because of my divorce and whatnot. But so I found this recently when I was in New Jersey and I went to the Philadelphia Record Exchange. Have you guys ever heard of that place?
Oh yeah, that place is great.
No, I'm wrong. Princeton Record Exchange.
Oh okay. Yeah.
Is that where I got this from? Yeah. This Beautiful Skin record. So if you're into like really odd minimal synth, this came out maybe late 90s, and it actually features like Ross right here. His older brother was in people in Radioland helped me out, an old hardcore New York band, either the Misguided or I think it was the Misguided, and then went on to Das Damon. And then this is right here is Nick Forte, the guitar player from Rorschach and the Raspberry Bulbs, and God, he's in like a death metal band too, like Bacon Water, something about it's like wet meat. It's called something. It's like wet. It's not called Wet Meat, but the name of the band is something like it's meat that's wet. I can't think of the name of it.
When I find out what band you're talking about, it's always going to be Wet Meat in my brain from now on.
It's not spam. Whoever just wrote in. Oh, Cliff. Carrie. It's not spam. Anyway, so this record though is for any like long drawn out fans of like minimal synth, and there's a track on here called Harsh Distractions that if it would have come out in like 84, it would have catapulted them into like at least the top 100 of the UK Billboard charts. It's just a very catchy, great song, and the rest of these really long just sparse minimal synth stuff. But this is actually my second copy of this because the other one, like I said, is in storage. So this too will be part of my first person to give me their address. They get a free, I will just send this to them within the continental United States for free if it's something that you're interested in.
Nice. I might try for that.
I mean, as you see, I spent $2.99 on it. So it's a fairly odd, to me, underrated record. Maybe it was one of those things that was just ahead of its time because I feel like minimal synth stuff is now starting to have this comeback. But Ross now I think is in LA doing soundtracks and movie stuff out there. But it's a great record. Harsh Noise project called Half Mortal. That's not it. That has nothing to. I mean, I'm certain, Robert. I'm certain that is the thing he's doing. But this thing, I swear it's. I'm gonna look it up because they have a video for what they did too, and they're all in like the death paint and standing in a forest, and it's winter time. Like it's But this is just minimal synth project. It's really, really fucking great. If you find it for at any price, $2.99 is undeniably awesome, or free if you happen to be the first one when I put this up. But it's great.
Wow. What's the name of the band one more time, Paul?
The Beautiful Skin.
The Beautiful Skin. Okay, nice. That I'm intrigued with that Rorschach connection there. Absolutely.
It's on. Actually, this came out on GSL. So.
Okay.
So that guy had lots of that oddball stuff in the 90s. Wasn't the Locust on GSL? And,
I think so. Yeah. Something Laboratories, right?
Yeah. So the Beautiful Skin.
Nice. Wow. There's 3 new ones to me straight away. Wow. There you go. Okay, Cliff, what's your second pick of the?
I don't think this one's going to be a new one for anybody except for me, because this band kind of fell through the cracks for me. I heard of them for years, and I didn't really take the time to listen to them. And then I found this record for cheap, and I bought it, and I was like, shit, man, where have I been?
Fuck yes.
And now this record, for the last month and a half, 2 months, however long I've had it, has just been not been put away. It just stays by my turntable at all times. It's freaking great. And now I'm going back and trying to find their other stuff so I could just buy all of it, because it's literally a hardcore record that gives me goosebumps at parts because it's so freaking good. And I just can't believe that I'm just getting into this now.
Better late than ever, man.
Right up my alley from when I was a kid.
Can you hand that up to me? Can I check it out?
Yeah, here, check it out.
Wow, yeah. This is a good one.
Yeah, it's a good record, man.
Yeah. Being from New England, I've got a lot of love for this band. So glad to see you.
Yeah. They're a Boston.
Back to you now.
Massachusetts.
You know what? I always hasten to use the word underrated, but I think in the case of this band, it absolutely does apply to this band.
Oh yeah, they're there's just it's just a perfect record. Every song on here, and a Total Human Monster. That song, as soon as that comes on, I'm just gonna start, and it leads into what in Innocent Bystander. I haven't memorized the songs yet, but it leads into the Innocent Bystander, and it's those 2 songs together. I can just once Innocent Bystanders stops, I could just repeat that and just do that for 20 minutes and be fine. And they're minute and a half long songs. So
what was it that finally who finally was just look, Cliff, get your fucking shit together and buy this record? Who was
I went in, and it was sealed at Wax Atlas. I told you to check that place out. It was sealed at Wax Atlas for $8, and I was like,
nice.
I've seen this record, I've heard of them, and everybody says they're great, so I'm gonna check it out. And I finally was just drop the $8, and now it's one of my favorite records I picked up last year. It's so freaking good.
As a sound investment,
Yeah, it's really good. It sounds a little if anybody doesn't know what it sounds kind of like a mix between Poison Idea and 9 Shots Terror. That's the best I can really put it together in my brain.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
Meat and Potatoes hardcore, but really
fast,
hard,
fast.
No frills,
Yep, really no frills, but like I said, it's just played so freaking tight. They're just on point all the way through.
Yeah, I don't understand why that band, I don't know how you gauge big or popular, but they should have been more recognized when they were around. I think, for sure. All their records are great, except for the last 1 or 2 where they changed. Because obviously the singer passed away, right? So they carried on with a different singer. Those ones are not. They're still good, but not as good as the.
I bought I bought the newest one they put out, and I haven't listened to it yet, so I don't know if it's as good as this, but I didn't expect it to be, because it came out relatively recently, right?
Yeah, I would try to get the ones with Mark singing on first, and then get those ones, the other ones.
Well, I bought the one. Revelation Records was having a sale, and they had it. It was $5 for the 12-inch. So I was like, I'm just gonna buy it because it's an out cold 12-inch for $5.
Right. Great band. I think we're all fans of that band.
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah. Nice pick. I'm going to play some Out Cold tonight for sure. It's been a while.
Nice.
All right, Steve, what's your second choice?
All right. So Paul actually inspired me to do this one next. I think there is something really special about punks playing, synthwave and pop music and stuff like that. Pretty much the only pop music I listen to is made by punks, and so that's why I had to pick the Prospexx LP. It's called A Quiet World. It's out on Symphony of Destruction Records, which is normally like a kind of DB crust label.
That's
and this
French label, right, Steve?
This is just pure pop music. It's synthwave. It's great, catchy hooks, great vocals, and I'd be remiss to be on a show called "What Are You Listening To" without including this. I bought this record back in April, and I still have not put it away because I just can't stop listening to it. It's so catchy. It has this little thing. I guess it's not an Obi strip, but I don't know what this would be called, but it's got like this little corner piece here.
Fake Obi.
Yeah.
Actually, we do have those kind of Obis hit in Japan too. Especially Sony used to do them in the 70s with the Sony like jazz records have those kind of Obis, so they do count. And
I said that they're punks. They're from Singapore, and I actually just found out today that they feature members of this band, CL, who some of the people on the show might know. So. I'm just throwing in an extra record. I'm cheating here, but the guitarist from that band is the guy who does all the music in this band, and it's just so interesting to hear someone go from like one extreme to the absolute other. But yeah, if you just like really good, catchy synthwave, like it's like a record I love to work to. You can just kind of like space out to. It's the kind of record you just like put on over and over and over again. Oh, and on their first EP, this is their first full length, but they did an EP before this, and they do a cover of No Hope for the Kids' Secret Police. And they somehow take an amazingly catchy song and make it even catchier. So I definitely highly recommend checking that out too.
Wow, that's another new one for me.
Yeah.
That's Symphony of Destruction. That's the French label, right?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it definitely stands out from the rest of their repertoire, but definitely a good sign on like I hope that they put out some more soon. But yeah, that record just came out December 2021. So I feel like it kind of got lost in the end of year mix. I feel like at that point, everyone already has their end of year list made and no one's paying attention to new releases. So I always like to go back and see what came out in December of every year. And like, there's a lot of hidden gems always.
That's a good idea. Yeah. That's another new one for me. Man, this is a great episode. I'm liking this.
Yeah.
I'm liking this.
You picked some good guests this week. I mean, you always do, but
especially this week, right? Especially. Yeah. Hey, would you like a brown ale?
Sure.
It's a question, but it's also the lead-off track to this record.
Oh.
This is the name of the record. The name of the record is called Bertie. The name of the band is Algy Lord Grey. We're going back to the UK 1970. And if thinking to yourself, wouldn't it be great if there was a really kind of like DIY, very badly produced, like concept album that is kind of a take on Tommy or SF Sorrow, but made by some freaks from England in like 1970 who went out into the countryside and just plugged in their instruments and had like this weird story about this guy called Bertie. They only made 50 of them apparently. I don't know if that's true. This is obviously the reissue, but it's so good. It's like very, very, very British English. It's whimsical. It's funny. They have like this guy doing a bit of narration, telling the story, and then you have like some dialogue, with it's usually like Bertie and his wife. Like Bertie kind of comes home from work, opens the door, and they have this like little bit of a conversation. And he always says, "I've had enough of this. I'm going up the pub." And then he kind of he shuts the door and he goes up the pub, and then the next song kind of comes in.
This sounds amazing to me.
I mean, it is a good record. Like a lot of it is very quiet, whimsical, like 60s psychedelic, like a very, very like DIY underground, like Kinks, very ramshackle. They're not that good on their instruments. Like the drums sound like the Apostles or a band like that. They're kind of punching above their weight a bit. They're like trying to do things that they're not really quite capable of doing, which I love. I think it's great, right? Yeah. I love that kind of stuff. But then it'll just suddenly burst into this like really heavy, like psychedelic freakouts with like long guitar solos, and that'll fade out, and then Bertie will come back in and say, "Oh, I'm back from the pub," And like, the story carries on. But
So is it just like a story about Bertie getting drunk?
yeah, you know what? I don't want to give away the story to everyone watching because it'll take away some of the pleasure of the record. But you know, you've got
Hashtag no spoiler.
kind of like they sent this to John Peel apparently. Even like John Peel was a little bit. He didn't know what to make of it back in 1970. Oh. Yeah, it kind of confused him a little bit because it is a little bit weird. It's like it sounds like a demo. But it's fantastic. I love it. I've been playing this to death. And they've got this weird, like, Tommy parody in the center label. So, oh my God. It says Tammy.
Oh, yeah.
And they spray painted all the covers, like DIY style, you know, with a stencil and everything back in the day.
How did you find out about it?
I don't know. I think I just saw it in a record store and it kind of looked cool. And it was kind of cheap. And I just bought it. And this is what I ended up with.
That's awesome.
Bertie came to him in a dream.
Algy Lord Grey,
at least.
Bertie.
Is that any relation to Sir Lord Baltimore?
I don't think so. I mean, these are like British guys, you know, living out in the countryside. There's, you know, songs called Bertie, where are your trousers? Right? And then do you know where I can score? Which is like when Bertie's at the pub trying to score some drugs and stuff.
Son of a bitch, Bertie.
There you go. That's my second pick of the day. Right.
I love that.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
I love everyone, but if you dig that kind of twee, brittle, British psychedelic weirdness, then you'll like it. There we go.
That's awesome.
Paul,
Hammered Halls. Everybody's heard this record. I'm sure it's been talked about on here.
Not yet. No.
A lot. Other than the Warmers, it's just another Aräkh record. And I mean, I'm probably going to lose some friends by saying this, and I'm not going to expose anybody who already knows this about me, so you can have plausible deniability. And also, I'm about to get cancer, but I'm one of the few people that actually like the Faith side better. And so, to me, this is just it's kind of just another Faith record, just like maybe a little bit older, a touch slower here and there, but the guy just has one of those iconic voices, and Hammered Halls is it's just a solid record that I can put on, and there's a familiarity about it that I don't have to know all the songs, but I kind of already know all the songs.
Yeah,
that makes any sense. You know,
I haven't heard the whole thing, but I listened to a bit of it on YouTube. It does bring you back to those days of like Ignition and 3 and those kind of bands.
Yeah, it has that classic sort of DC Discord sound from that era.
Yeah.
And it's just a good fucking familiar thing to plop on. I mean, I haven't read the lyrics. I imagine they're just sort of, obtuse and slightly political or whatever. Like, but I mean, I'm hoping it's not stuff about like rhinoceroses and like tutus and birthday cakes for his kids and stuff. But maybe that's fine too. Like, who cares?
Ian, where are your trousers?
Yeah. Ian, where are my trousers? Ian, I found your burgundy skull cap. Oh, that's funny. So Hammered Halls, has this been talked about on here before? I think so.
First time, but
really?
I've been thinking about buying it, so I did check it out a little bit because people were talking about it, not on this show, but in general.
If you're a fan of like Faith and Ignition, then this is just like it's just that record, in that whole. Yeah. It's right on brand with everything that the dude's done, except for the Warmers was different, but other than that, his tripped out drug stages of the Warmers. I guess this is I don't know if he was on drugs. Aräkh, if you're watching right now, and I bet you are, you can get in the chat and just let everybody know if you were on a lot of drugs during the Warmers or not. Talking to you.
Aräkh Mackay is the vocalist, right? Just to clear that up.
This next track's called "Looking to Score."
Where are my trousers? Looking to score.
I'm going to
post it alone. Some other people in the chat say they're coming around to the Faith side as well. So let's not get into it too much here, but I do like the Faith side a lot.
too.
There was a time though, if you said that, you'd lose friends. Like,
yeah. I can see that people.
We covered Faith songs in one band I was in. Lord Humongous covered the Faith song, so I'm still a big fan of the Faith. I want to check that out just because it has something to do with the Faith.
I'm trying to get Chris Bald on the show. He's kind of agreed to it. So
okay.
Nice.
Sounds
Good
like
choice.
a verbal contract to me.
That came out kind of at the end of the year too, right, Paul?
Yeah. This came in right at the end of the year.
Good one. That's a good one. All right, Cliff, what's your third pick?
Your weird rock pick made me pull my weird rock pick. This is a new band. This was a blind buy, and I bought it with my Christmas gift card to celebrated summer. It's Führs and Fröhling. It's Ammerland. This is a krautrock record. It's two dudes. One dude plays guitar, one dude plays synths, but it's like medieval folk with synth in it, kind of, but like kind of like a little bit of like early Kraftwerk feel to it too. This is an interesting record. I've played this a ton because it's just kind of like mellow and chill, and it's good like morning coffee music because it's got like that twinkly like kind of like acoustic folky guitar, but then it's got like weird like Final Fantasy music in the background. So it's like super awesome. Like I don't know. This was a total blind buy because I saw this like weird yellow font on like and it was like German names and Brain. So I was like, this is gonna be a ride right here.
Yeah.
So like it was on the Brain label. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this. There's no way around it. Like I gotta buy this. And when I brought it home and listened to it, it was like it took me off guard at first, and I was like, I don't know what to think of this. But I've listened to this like I bought it last week. I probably listened to it like 5 times already. Just like keep putting it on in the morning.
Nice. That's one I've not heard of either. But the Brain label is one of those labels. It's like even if the record isn't very good, it's like it's on Brain. I'm keeping it.
Weird. Yeah, 70. This is 78, so it's from like 1978. So it's like later stuff, and it's like it's definitely got like that like. It's not like the straightforward krautrock stuff that you'd think of like Cluster or anything like that, or like Cluster or Kraftwerk or anything like that. But it's definitely a weird German record that is fun to listen to.
Nice.
Führs and Fröhling is the name of the band.
Would that be Edgar Führs from like? I'm kind of digging myself in deep now.
Here's the dudes, what they look like. And I don't know if you can see the names. I don't think it's
Gentle Breeze.
It's Gerald Führs and Heinz Fröhling.
Okay. If anyone
and
knows,
they did other records. They've got like 4 or 5 records out, and they've got another record with somebody else in the mix. And I haven't listened to those yet, but I'm going to keep an eye out for them now because I'm really enjoying this one right now.
Nice, man. It's a new one for me.
It's like the best I can like if a Dungeon Synth kid got a hold of this, they would freaking love it. Like I think they would be all about it. So yeah, like it sounds like a Super Nintendo game with guitars on it, kind of.
Wow,
amazing.
Yeah, good pick, Mark.
Right.
That's a good pick.
Cliff, next time I visit, I'm going to bring some mushrooms, and we're going to take them and listen to that. Okay.
That sounds great. That sounds like a perfect night.
Right. Real solid idea.
And then we can wander around all the row homes in my neighborhood and maybe walk to my kids' school and hang out in the soccer field.
Hey, I'm not trying to get arrested now.
We'll be all right.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, Steve, what's your next pick?
So this is one that everyone probably will be familiar with. My next pick, I went with Decomp, Condemned to Earth. So this was a release on Blackwater, and Blackwater just had an absolutely incredible year this year. They put out so many good records, you know, the Syndrome 81 record, the Rigorous Institution record, the Long Knife record that we already talked about. And I feel like this poor record has not been getting the attention it deserves because it's just got so many kick-ass siblings over there. So I wanted to specifically call this one out. This is just some great, brutal crust. Like if you think about like Rigorous Institution and they're kind of like that early Amoebics, like Spider Leg kind of era, like this is the other end of Amebix's career. It's like all the metal riffs from Arise, just like condensed into like just nonstop pummeling. And I actually got to see this band live too on the tour for this record, and the live show like made me even more of a believer. I'd like listening to the record every day on the lead up to it, and then I saw them deliver it live, and I was just like completely blown away. So
I feel
really,
like
really
I've not seen anybody talk about that record at all. That's the first time I'm hearing about it and seeing it like right now.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
Exactly,
Deconti. What's the name of the band?
Decomp. Like short for decomposition, decomp.
Decomp.
Yep.
Yeah, first time hearing that name.
And I think part of the problem too is it came out on the same label as the new Hellshock record, and this basically sounds like the first two Hellshock records. So it's
Blackwater put out
it's
a
like
lot
a
of
little
records.
brother like in the shadow.
It got overshadowed a little bit, right?
Yeah, and whereas I feel like the new Hellshock record is also great, I've enjoyed listening to that a lot. But like I feel like that record's a little bit more complex. There's more going on. This is just like straight distilled crust metal, like just no bullshit, no like intros and outros, just like nonstop riff into riff into. It's a bulldozer of a record.
Wow.
So I've been really loving just like crushing my skull to it every day over here.
That sounds like something I want to listen to.
Oh
Me
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely up your alley. And
Nice.
yeah, I hope these guys keep on doing more. Don't be discouraged, guys. Some of us are out there listening, repping you hard. I bought these guys are from I think they're from Portland or Seattle, like somewhere up in that Pacific Northwest area.
Yeah. Blackwater puts out a lot of mostly stuff from Portland.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're a Portland band. I know some of the members used to be based out of Texas, but they've since relocated. I think like once everyone got priced out of Texas, a lot of them went north, though not that Portland's that much more affordable at this point. But yeah, these guys. And then I think the drummer actually used to be in he's from Massachusetts. And it's kind of funny. He's him and I are kind of like doppelgangers. Like anyone who might not be familiar with me might think I'm the drummer of Decomp, plugging my own band on the show. But yeah, he's originally from the Boston area, and like whenever people will see me around, they'll be like, "Oh my god, are you like this guy's brother?" Or like, no, we're just two big crusty hairy dudes, you know. We like our crust metal, and we like our beards.
Nice pick. I'm getting lots of new things to listen to here today. Great stuff. Hey, anyone like Black Sabbath?
Do I ever?
Everyone likes Black Sabbath, right?
My favorite band.
How about Ozzy Solo?
I like Ozzy Solo well enough.
Wait, are you talking about that song he did about the nuclear powers? Killer of Giants? Is that what this is going to be? Or is this like a lead forward?
Bear with me. How about like Dio Solo?
Okay.
Oh,
Digging Dio Solo?
Yeah.
What about Tony Iommi Solo?
Hell yeah.
Yeah? What about Geezer Butler? Because he has some stuff out, right? GZR. They're okay, right?
I don't think I've listened to that actually. Yeah.
There's another important guy that we're forgetting here, right? Another very important member of Black Sabbath. He always gets forgotten. He's a really important member of Black Sabbath. He also had some solo records, but they're completely forgotten. And I was lucky enough just a couple of weeks ago to pick up his first solo record on vinyl. Of course, I'm talking about the man himself, Bill Ward.
Oh,
the
wow.
drummer of Black Sabbath.
Nice.
He has like 4 solo records out there. This is the only one that came out on vinyl. The second, third are like CD only. There's a 4th one, but it's just his poetry. I've not ever listened to that one. But this record, Jesus Christ, it's one of those ones where you get it, put it on, play it again, play it again, play it again, play it again. It's just a classic. I think it's totally forgotten about. It came out in like 1990 or 1989, something like that. Ozzy sings 2 songs on it, but they're actually like the least interesting songs on the whole record. They sound like kind of Bark at the Moon era. Ozzy is straightforward, like that kind of style. They're okay. Right. But the rest of the songs, man, seriously, the first song sounds like kind of like Angel Rap era Voivod. It's pretty fast. And Bill's kind of singing very softly over it with this like kind of sci-fi voice. Jack Bruce from Cream is on here. He plays bass and sings a song. That song's also pretty good. But the rest of it kind of, I mean, I don't know if you like kind of Technical Ecstasy era Black Sabbath. A lot of it sounds like that. Doomy, heavy. But yeah, It's just a really great record. It's got like that 80s drum sound, which is you can't really get away from, considering when it was made. There's a song called Sweep on it, which is almost like new wave punkish kind of a song. It's just a fantastic, really interesting record that is like doesn't stay in any one genre. It's all over the place, but it's great. Love
is that cover like scribbled upon, or
it is Paul, well noticed, and it says like, "Hi, Metal Gear readers." I can read that part. What's Metal Gear? Like a gaming magazine, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know.
And then I can't read the rest of it.
Snake in it?
I can't read. I don't think it's signed by Bill Ward. It's like someone's written a message, but I can't read it. I can just read like "Hi, Metal Gear readers," and the rest of it is just I can't read it. So
maybe it was like one of like the like other people who are playing on it that you don't really know who they are. They signed it.
That's probably, but there's so many different music. I mean, Zach Wilde plays on a couple of songs. Bob Daisley's on here. Eric Singer plays drums along with Bill Ward on one song.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
There's like dual drum parts on one song.
Yeah, and there's like little kind of snippets of like.
That must not be a good song because you're just like, yeah.
I know. So I've only had this for a couple of weeks, so I'm not like, an expert on it. But man, this is a fantastic record that doesn't sound anything like Ozzy or Dio solo stuff.
That was like my next question: is does he play everything? But you said there's lots of other people.
Yeah, there's Bill plays the drums and he sings on every song except the two that Ozzy sings on, the one that Jack Bruce sings on. But
how's his voice?
It's great. I mean, you like Swinging a Chain, he sings on that song in Black Sabbath, right? And It's All Right on Technical Ecstasy, he sings that one, right? His voice is very soothing. It's very easy on the ears. It's very 70s sounding, I would say.
Nice.
No histrionics. It's very like, kind of Paul McCartney, in the pocket.
Yeah.
Easy on the ears. Great record. Along the way, Bill Ward, Ward 1.
I didn't even know. I'm like Black Sabbath is literally my favorite band. I love them. I didn't even know Bill Ward had solo albums.
I mean, there are parts of this record that do sound like Technical Ecstasy era Black Sabbath. So if you're really fiending for even more of that, there's some of that on that record.
I mean, I'm gonna buy it just because it says Bill Ward on the cover.
I will warn you, it's not cheap because I think it was
because it's Bill Ward.
No, it was just like the CD era, so I don't think they pressed many.
Yeah.
On vinyl.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's in what, like 89? Yeah.
Yes, 89, so 90, so yeah.
I'll buy a CD or a cassette, maybe.
I feel like 89, 90 was kind of somebody was finally like, dude, you got to do something. Everybody else has got these solo records because that's like.
And it's so left field though, Paul. It's like it doesn't sound like it's from 80, except the drum sound.
But he's like, but I got these poems, and they're like, well, okay,
sit on those for a couple of
work them in there.
Let's get them.
I haven't checked out the poems yet. I haven't checked those out, but I follow him on Facebook, and he often puts his poems up.
He gave an ultimatum. He's like, I'll put out a solo record if you let me put my poems on there.
Yeah, but the poems came like way down the pipe, years later. But anyway, check it out,
Bill. If you're watching, nothing against your poetry. Just, I think people like your music better.
Bill, I've never heard your poetry, so I don't know. I'm just saying.
Cliff might like your poetry better.
We could say, because that famous cover of Sabotage, right, with Bill. Where are your trousers? Where are your trousers?
Where are your trousers?
Looking to score.
I'm going to milk this one. All right, Cliff, what's your next choice, mate?
Yeah, I don't get to go.
Yeah, I think Paul.
Sorry,
Paul.
No, that's all right.
Paul. Sorry.
Man, already the faith thing is losing me the cred.
You already canceled.
I can see the amount of people watching is like decreasing.
The Comets.
Ooh.
This is a repress. So fans of the Jam and our mod revival kind of stuff. So this is a band from Florida. They had like 2 45s and allegedly a 10-inch that no one has ever seen. It's great mod power pop. And this is the reissue that came out. The song on this, Big Business Jokes, the typical sort of like mod revival stuff is like snare, closed hi-hat kind of stuff. the shit that this guy is doing is like mind blowing. I've played it for drummer friends, and they're just like, how the hell does he do that so fast and so tight and so technically? And it's got that stereotypical jam, mod revival, moderns. Like if you're into any of that mod revival kind of stuff, it has that sound completely. And every single song on here is a banger. And just mainly it's the drummer of that quintessential closed hi-hat snare playing that he's doing is just sets this above the bar. And there's very little to know about them other than the 2 sleeveless 45s that came out. And I happened to somehow through some trades get one of them. And then when this came out, I was like, finally so thankful. But it's a really great, if you're into power pop, mod revival, early 80s, pick this record up. From actually one of the best things about it is that it's an early 80s US record. So most of that stuff is all overseas, Europe, and all came out over there. Very few things came out in the US as far as that genre of things. And this just happened to click and connect and never got the fame. They played with bands. I think when I was looking them up, they played with like the Kinks and Blondie and some of that when those bands would come through Florida, but they never got the attention. And definitely the Comets, Big Business Jokes, check that song out. If you listen to that song alone and just put it in your download list or check it out on YouTube, then you'll know where they're at. It's great. And I love this genre of music, the mod revival and power pop. I think it's really, I don't want to keep using the term underrated. So this is, you know what? I'll use this term. It's rated perfectly where it is because it has so many people that are, dude, they're underrated. Well, nobody likes it. Well, then they're rated perfectly. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe they're rated appropriately, but
I love that genre too. Like, there's like the mod revival, and there's like the second mod revival, like maybe which like Detour Records put out a lot of the second mod revival.
So this is like, in the 90s,
there was like a second mod revival with a whole bunch of like British bands and stuff.
You know who you got to get on here is Stu Anderson. Like, you got to get him on here to talk about his junk. But me and him go back and forth about weird power pop and mod revival stuff. And
but that first wave, like the Lambrettas and the Chords, those kind of bands, right?
The Lambrettas is another one of those dollar bin records, and I try and talk people into it. And like, what are you buying? I'm like, because I have 3, and I give them away. I'm a huge fan of like if I'm anywhere and I see a record in a bin that's cheap that I think is just gonna die in that bin, and like I grab it because I'm like, at some point I'm gonna find somebody that I'm gonna give this to and they're gonna appreciate it. But here, it's never gonna get any legs or any movement. So I've got like boxes of records that I'm just ready to give out to people who are like, I've always liked this. I'm like, here you go.
That too. If I see something cheap, real cheap, I'll pick it up and do the same thing. And then give it to somebody.
I found sorry, I'm gonna hijack this just for a second. Where'd it go?
I think that you said the drumming, that is like not overlooked, but drumming is a really important part of that sound. Because it all comes from like the Keith Moon, right? And then like very good drummers in those kind of bands. It's
the way because nobody can beat Keith Moon. So it seemed to like just drive into that simplicity of those sort of like walking bass lines, and then the closed hi-hat snare, and then like after that, then I don't know, you sing about a girl with a sweater on or some fucking bullshit or whatever you're doing, but whatever. Like it's already like hooked in with that rock trick of just those 2 basic things: sparse guitar, the jam, like that. I mean, well, maybe not in the city, but there's all mod cons and that has a lot of that going on. Minus the horns. I was just gonna say I found another copy of like that Nerve Breaker single for super cheap of My Girlfriend Is a Rock is on there.
Wow.
The rest of the songs are sleeper. But yeah, I picked it up. I'm like, I'm gonna find somebody that needs this or wants this, and this is gonna be their birthday present. So
that's another new one for me. Nice.
The Comets record?
Comets, the new one for me,
It's great. Radioland or YouTube Land, go buy it. Oh, I should tell you what label it's on, because this is the reissue. It's on a Reminder, who also has done. They actually just put out, I think, they just put out a comp of maybe a year or two ago of like female fronted mod and power pop bands. So like I think I don't want to say the M&Ms are on there, but that style of stuff that's really great too. All right,
nice.
Cliff.
Well, Robert told us that the Bill Ward poetry album was limited to 200 copies. So good luck.
And they're still available.
Yes. All right, Cliff, what's your next choice?
I went with my most recent jazz obsession right now. 'Cause I know, Mike, you're a jazz guy.
I'm a jazz guy.
Jimmy Smith.
Oh, the old organ.
Yep.
Oh,
Organ grinder. This is I got this. I actually got this for free. I've got like a shit ton of records for free from there was a big he's like a flea market guy that was liquidating all his like budget bin stuff, and he liquidated all of it, and this was in there, and this is in pretty good condition. It's not perfect, but it's really good and listenable. But I got probably like 100 records from that guy, and this was in there, and I had never really listened to Jimmy Smith, and now like since this summer, like I've just been picking up every cheap Jimmy Smith record that I find, because this dude is a beast on the organ. Like this record in particular, like it's like the like shred metal equivalent of organ jazz.
Oh wow!
He's like
Fuck, you just invented a genre, man.
Yeah,
Right here, kaboom!
but like
Shred metal organ jazz.
shred metal
Goodbye.
organ jazz. Like that's literally like what this dude is playing on here, and it doesn't hurt that like Kenny Burrell's on here, who's like
Great guitarist.
jazz guitarist, and Grady Tate he's drums, I think. I don't remember.
One of the other instruments. Yeah,
It's just a trio playing on here. I should.
that's probably drums.
Remember. but this is great, and it's like this is a live recording, so it's like him live tearing it up. So it's not like they cut out all like the like parts that weren't like commercially viable. This is a live record, so it's like all like the weird like jamming crap that they do on these records, which is kind of the fun part of jazz anyway, is still on here. So this is a great record. This is probably my favorite Jimmy Smith record that I picked up, and I got it for free. So I can't complain about that.
The thing about Jimmy is he has a lot of records, right? Like hundreds.
He's got a ton.
And it's kind of hard to know which ones are the good ones, but that's one of the good ones. That's on Verve, right? That's a Verve.
Yeah, this is on
Verve Records era. Yeah.
Does he have a split with Unholy Grave yet?
Not yet. He's working on it. But this is, like I said, this is cool because it's like his jam record, and he's kind of bluesy too. Like he's got like bluesy sound to his organ player. He's also from Philadelphia, Steve.
Oh, cool.
He's a Philly guy.
Local hero.
So,
love that.
Pretty sick.
Yeah, we've always been a good jazz
That's
city.
my jazz pick for tonight. I had to pick one, and I've been listening to a ton of him lately.
I suppose most people know that like the Beastie Boys, Root Down, that was a Jimmy Smith. They sampled Jimmy Smith. That's
very cool.
And he was either, he had something to do, like he was either like a inspiration to Coltrane or like played with Coltrane on stuff or something like that. I remember hearing something about that.
He goes back a long way, right? But yeah, I heard
it on a radio show sometime.
Okay. Yeah, he has a lot of records. The Blue Note era is kind of good too. You know, the Blue Note era.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Actually, like I think the one live at the Chicken Shack is the other one that's like I heard that and I was like, that one's real good. I think
Root Down is also a really good one. Yeah. Because
when he gets like to let loose on the organ, you're like, how do your fingers even move that fast when you're listening to him play? It's just like, holy crap.
That speed metal organ jazz. They just
Yep.
that they were doing back in 1965.
Right.
It's incredible.
Nice. Love about Jimmy Smith. All right, Steve, what's your fourth pick?
So next up is it's actually my favorite drum and bass record from the year. The band's called Bog Body.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's
That's
a drummer and a bass player playing just some of the filthiest, most disgusting kind of blackened death metal that I've ever heard. The record's called Cryonic Crevasse Cult, which kind of is what the album art's kind of evocative of as well. But yeah, it's just really dirty, filthy sounding stuff. It's like the kind of music that like a caveman would like beat you to death to. And one of my favorite memories actually of the year was I went camping over the summer, and I after everyone else went to sleep, I was just sitting around the fire and I had a little external speaker, and I queued up this because I had just gotten it recently, and I was like listening to it just like around the fire under the trees and the stars, and I was like, this is how this record was meant to be played. But yeah, just really primitive, brutal kind of stuff. I got a chance to see them live too. They're from New York. I got to see them down in DC, and they both play with like black hoods over their faces and stuff too. So it just really adds to the whole aesthetic. You know, just nameless, faceless guys coming to murder you in your sleep with like sharpened bone shivs or something.
When you say New York, do you mean the city, or are they like from like the woods?
I think they're from the city, but they sound like they emerged from like a cave underneath. Like they sound like chuds, basically. Like, like the sewer underneath the sewer is where they dwell.
Bog bag.
Bog body.
Bog body.
Bog body. Yeah.
Oh, so it's been like so it's like a million years old and still preserved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're very pickled sounding record for sure.
Like, isn't that thing where they find corpses in bogs that like still look like?
Yeah, like the peat bog mummies. Yeah, totally.
I go to work at like I leave for work at like 4:30 in the morning, and like when it's like a weird cloudy night, that record I keep putting on my Spotify. Like,
oh yeah,
all in the morning time. Yeah, it's a good drive to work when it's dark and there's like a bunch of clouds over the moon while you're driving. Record.
Oh yeah, it's a vibe for sure.
Like to terrify you and keep you alert, or just like
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice pick.
Is that
another one I haven't heard?
Is that a gatefold or like
no gatefold, but it is like it's got like this gold print.
Yeah, right. Is that embossed?
Yeah. So, and then it's got the same on the back too. It's like the track titles are kind of in that same. It gets the light just right.
Is the record itself a color or?
I believe this one is just. This is good too. This is actually a picture of the band like around a fire. So
fucking bonkers.
Maybe they do live out in the woods. Actually, maybe you're right there, Paul.
Yeah.
But yeah, just inky black vinyl, black as their souls. And yeah, this was a band where I first heard their demo, and I was really just blown away by it. And I think it was like really 4 or 5 songs. And at the time, like I really liked it, but then I was like, does this band have legs? Is this just like a gimmick and it's going to get old really fast, or like, can they follow this up? And now that I've heard this full length, I'm like, okay, yeah, these guys know what they're doing.
They did a split too.
Oh yeah, I have that split as well. Yeah,
that's pretty good too. I don't remember what the other band sounds like, so maybe they weren't very good. Bog
Body definitely won that. They're the void of that.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Oh, I see that Rock Daydream Nation has joined us, which is a YouTube channel that I follow, and they're from Australia, which is amazing because my next record is an Australian record. There you go. And,
can we guess?
Have a stab at it.
Men at Work Cargo.
Oh, close.
Really?
No.
Right.
Came out last year.
Is it a Buffalo record? I don't know.
Of course not. It's Aborted Tortoise, dudes. Aborted Tortoise. From Perth, Australia. It sounds okay. So a couple of weeks ago, I showed this band the Smarts when actually it was when Tony I think was on. And I was asking those guys like, what the hell is egg punk?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
and they were trying to explain to me
egg punk and chain punk.
Egg punk and chain punk. They were
Somebody
teaching
brought
me.
up like a diagram or something.
Yeah, so this is egg punk. What does egg punk mean? I'm still not quite sure, but I guess it means it's close to like Devo, right? Something like that. That's basically what it means.
Okay.
Intelligent punk? I don't know. I still don't really get it, but this is very lo-fi. It's like 11 songs and 23 minutes. Pretty frantic. Garage punk. There's a little bit of surf in there.
Wait, is it people from the Smarts or just similar
No,
to?
it's different people, but this is like more aggressive than the Smarts. The Smarts is even more. The Smarts more of an omelette. This is more of a boiled egg.
Sure.
Right?
Gotcha.
It's like, I don't know. It's kind of raw. There's a little bit.
You know what? I don't know why that makes sense, but I totally get it. Like,
yeah, it's very sharp guitars, and it's on Bachelor Records. Came out 2019 actually. This came out. Yeah, very razor sharp guitars, speedy.
is there anybody from that? Are they folks from like what is it? The Os Mutants?
Man, you're a genius, because I'm saying that because this got reviewed in Maximum Rock and Roll, and they compared this band to that band, and they said if you miss the Os Mutants, this band could like take their place if you like that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I'm a really big fan of Alien Nose Job from down there, which I think is
that band was also mentioned too. In fact, like, comparing with these guys, I
love like all the records I've heard by them, and definitely like on that egg punk side of the spectrum, but just
it's not the best band name in the world. I don't remember why I bought this record, but it's great.
There are some of those bands like that have really shitty names that have done themselves in by having a crappy name but are a good band. Electric Love Muffin has a horrible name, but if you're looking for the poppier side of like the Replacements, then you fucking would want those records. You know,
I mean, Aborted Tortoise doesn't really. I don't, it's like, but apparently, they called it our album, and of course it's and so it's like, well, this is going to be the first record on everyone's record shelf, because it all starts with AAA. But
is it because that maybe there's a law down there where no longer tortoises can get abortions, and so they were trying to like put their flag in something,
raise awareness.
Hey, look,
it could be that.
If we're
But you know
going to stand for something,
it could be something. But you know,
we need to have a tortoise.
It could be that. But I feel like this is their second album. You know what? I feel they really came out of their shell.
We have a spit take.
What's your next pick?
Oh man, I'm gonna go with this. I had two on deck because I wasn't sure which one I was gonna do. The other one, Black Helicopter. They do a Bullet LaVolta cover of like the one or two of the one like Bullet LaVolta good songs. I'm just kidding. I know that you love them, but I'm gonna go with.
I knew you said that on purpose.
Yeah. And maybe, hey, who knows? If this thing keeps going and we do a sixth one, I got that one as a backup. Right. This is Christian Blunda, the dude from the Mean Jeans. So it automatically sounds a little bit like a B-sides Ramones record, but where he changes it is these are all songs about outer space. The record itself is on.
It's called Funky Punks in Space.
Yes.
The record itself is on Bubblegum Pink, or I don't know, Quasar Pink, whatever, just to keep with the theme. I don't know what color quasars are. Like who knows if anybody does? But anyway, but some of this goes to like Commodore 64 sort of keyboard songs too. So there's like weird like dancey tunes in here. Like Chain Wallet and Zero Gravity. So there's a lot of like self-effacing humor in this. But then there's some like awkwardly sort of like, you know, those Ramon songs that have like that plucky upbeat, but really have some sorrow in them. So like Black Hole and Living in a Vortex, they're like, you sing along to them and they're like, oh my God, this might be the saddest thing I've fucking ever, like song I've ever heard in my life. So
Poison Heart.
Yeah, that
kind of thing.
Yeah, so you're just singing along. You're like, wait a minute,
this is dark.
This is with sorrow. Yeah. So yeah, this record probably still pretty readily available because, again, by the title alone, who's gonna fucking buy this except for a dude who's in like dungeon rock and weirdo shit? Like,
I think all of us here would.
Funky Punks in Space, man.
This gets better with each word, you know.
But it's seriously like he'll go from like a Ramon style song with some of the keyboard background into like kind of like an 80s new wave like dance song, like just about being in Oh, I'm an Alien is another good cut off this. It's nonstop like fun as you're just driving around. The everybody in the car is gonna love and want to get it because A, it's space because nobody wants to live on Earth anymore. And B, it's like it's got a plucky spirit and an oaky finish. So like why fucking not do it?
Man.
Funky Punks in Space, Christian Blunda. And while I was looking this up, I found out he also did a soundtrack to a comedy movie that's 18 minutes long about proactive car thieves that steal back cars that have been stolen and give them back maybe to like moms who lost their minivans. Still trying to find out about the movie and how to get its release date. But yeah, the trailer looks great.
Wow.
Yeah. That's my pick.
Another great one. Another new one to me as well. Yeah.
I like that it's like a comet wearing a spiked bracelet.
Yes.
Were you guys like arcade guys? Like, did you go into the arcade to play games? Like, put your quarters in?
I was
that kind of shit.
Nintendo guy. I was like 80. Like I'm an 80s 90s baby. So like consoles were like the thing, you know.
All right, so I'm like 50. So this is like you had to go in and like put your quarters into a machine, and like there are these games that had like this style soundtrack. There was this game called Saker 1 that was you get inside of it. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? It's the most ridiculous game in the world. It took off half this arcade. You get inside of a ball and you sit there, and it's all, and then these fans shoot the ball up in the air, and with your weight, you are like you are an X-wing fighter, and you shoot TIE fighters and stuff, and everything is like square and shitty, and you're bouncing all around in this ball.
Yeah.
This would have been the soundtrack to that. Yeah.
That's a great description. Yeah.
That is incredible. I want that experience now.
Yeah. We were born too late.
Well, I don't know. You could probably get one of those games now, like for like $100.
Yeah, but you're not going to be in a big ball unless you put it in like your basement or something, you know. And I don't think Sony's going to make one of those.
No, well, I'm just saying, like you can get one from they. I don't know how many of those systems they made, but I guarantee. You know what? I'm going to jot down. I'm going to find out the history of Saker 1. Right now, I call it. I'm making a documentary. No, I'm not going to do any of it. But I am going to trademark speed metal organ jazz.
It's shred metal organ jazz.
Shred metal organ
jazz.
Organ jazz. Yep.
I call it. All right.
Nice.
Start the first. You got to find somebody that's real good at the organ, though. Like you got to find somebody that's real good at organ.
Bill Ward.
I got my eye on some people.
He might be good at organ. I don't know.
All right.
Here's the thing.
What's your...
just starting to leak shred metal organ jazz out there into like the ether, it's gonna like the next like Maryland Death Fest in 2 years or whatever it's gonna be. You're gonna see a guy up there, total pain. He's like, he's gonna have like the 3 keyboards up and down.
Like a third arm comes out of the cloak. Like
he's gonna have like a bird skeleton glued onto his arm so we can play keys like this.
Yeah. Oh man,
you really have the vision.
Excellent.
I'm there. All right, Cliff, what's your next pick?
Next pick. This is a UK band. 80s metal stuff. Rogue Mail. This shit. I just found I've heard this before, but I just found a copy of it. Like, it just came in the mail like last week. So this has been like nonstop on my turntable. You can't go wrong with an opening track called "Crazy Motorcycle." Like, come on, man! The fucking name of the song is "Crazy Motorcycle," and it's just that's the whole chorus is "Crazy Motorcycle." Yeah, and it sounds like a fucking Motorhead song.
Yeah. It sounds like a long lost Inepsy song.
Yeah, it does. Like a lot of this sounds like an long Inepsy song. And the more I'm digging into like this sound of stuff, like I'm realizing like there's a lot of bands that sound kind of like long lost Inepsy songs. You know?
There's the German band Backwater. Do you know that one? That's a really good one.
I don't know that one, but I just found out about the Belgian band Killer, and like last year, and that band is fucking excellent and does this like almost exactly this style.
And
is that the singer? Like, is there a picture of him on the back? Is that the singer?
No, it's just that's the back.
Oh yeah, but
like
I have seen live
model looks like now.
I have seen live photos of them, and I feel like they were doing like the Guar thing, but with like cybernetic future guys instead of you know space aliens.
I would hope so, because this cover, like people say this. I had people like I showed this on my Instagram, like that's the worst cover ever. I'm like, this is like
that's
the best cover ever.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. It's like cybernetic mullet. Like, how's this a bad cover?
No,
he's got little spikes on his jacket and like fucking like this is like Mad Max with fucking cyborgs in it. Like,
it's like Mad Max.
By the way, I hate to correct you, but that much care put into a mullet, that's a moulet. Like that is like flowing over the shoulder. It's combed out, like
slicked back.
Yeah, he did take a lot of time for that. Business in the front, party in the back. Look, he's really going for it.
That's so weird because I know that record. I've never owned a copy, but I just ordered one, like a Japanese pressing. In fact, it's coming next week. Yeah,
it's a great record.
It's a great record, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's also like a lot hornier than I expected when I actually got a copy. It's a surprisingly horny record.
Yeah. Yeah, all over you. Come on, man. It's just literally a song about dude jizzing all over somebody. That's like what the song's about. Like for real. It's rough. But it's like that like weird like 80s like that weird 80s style of like where it's like kind of like metal groupie style stuff in there. It's kind of reminds me, it has like weird like tendencies of like LA style stuff that came out, but it's got like a lot of like Motorhead influence in there, like a ton. Like most of it, there's a song on here about being in a gang. I think it's On the Line. I think is just like it's just about being in a gang, and then there's another song called Unemployment where it's you know it's just called Unemployment. How you gonna go wrong with a song called Unemployment? This is just really good, really fast and Motorheady. That's what really brings this record out.
I like the idea of like, because there's no gang that was like, hey guys, you know what we should do? We should write a song. We should write a song about us. Like, there are only songs about gangs of people not in fucking gangs, right?
Yeah.
Like,
these dudes were not a gang, no, at all. But that's what they wrote about. It's a great. I really love this record.
It's a good record.
It's one that I've been listening to a ton because, like I said, it's got that Motorhead feel where it's just like, but like shitty Motorhead. My friend John from YouTube, he called it poverty metal. Like stuff like this is called poverty metal.
No,
it's just
unemployed.
Poverty metal was invented by Chris Corey. He invented that term. Like it's
like
a peasant in the village, you know, like baking bread or doing pottery.
But I remember I talked about the Killer Shockwave record on a YouTube video, and he's like, "Man, I love that poverty metal sound," and it's stuck in my head. I'm like, "That's a great name for that," because it's just like stuff that like the working class is just making because they can, and then it's just really freaking good because you still have all the feeling of like. There's a lot of punk in this too. These guys were in like punk bands and the '77 punk bands, like what the hell? Pretty Boy Floyd, I think the dude was in, and the Gems, I think.
That sounds like a power pop kind of band.
Yeah,
but they were like in like the early punk stuff.
That I almost bought like probably 100 times, and just never. But I guess today's the day. I'm gonna put it on the list.
Yeah, I have a copy. It's a fun one. I would say conceptually, it's like the first Terminator movie if it ended with a bukkake scene. That's the record.
It's like, all right, this song's called All Over You, and it's like you're listening to it, and it's like, did he just say what I think he said? Like, I think he did. And then you're like, listen to it again, and you're like, yeah, he did say what I think he said. And I think he meant what he was saying.
Well, he's a rogue male.
He is a rogue male. On the loose.
on the loose on a motorcycle with a mullet.
Yeah, a crazy motorcycle.
Mullet.
Going to pick up his unemployment check.
All right, Steve, what's your last choice? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my final choice, I had to plug a Philadelphia band.
Oh.
This is The Ire. It's a new record that just came out this year called What Dreams May Come. It's on the Play Alone record label based out of Pittsburgh. And this is just like really good gothy post-punk. Like anyone who's a fan of like Susie and the Banshees or like that early, like really bass-driven Cure stuff like Pornography and 17 Seconds. Like, this is really hitting all those notes. And I'm like good friends with all the people in this band. And one thing I really love about this band is Daniel Cox, who plays drums in Dark Thoughts and a bunch of D-beat bands like Pollen, Kinetic Orbital Strike is his new band. He plays bass on this record. And I have something I really love is watching like a guy who's always the drummer finally get to play another instrument because they're always so excited to just not be behind the kit. And like the bass playing on this record, it's like a very bass-driven record. Like the tone is just huge sounding. Like the bass really carries the songs nicely. Creates a lot of space for like the guitar to do a lot of like kind of that melodic, like Robert Smith kind of jangly kind of stuff. And then the drummer actually uses electronic triggers on her drums to get that like real like 80s snap on like the snare hits and everything. So it's just like all the ingredients on this record are really coming together to like make something like really, really nice. And they're another great live band too. So, you ever get a chance to see The Ire, I would definitely recommend it. They deliver.
That's another new one.
You sold me. You fucking sold me.
Yeah,
I've got to.
Me too.
Like, this is my paycheck.
Yeah. It's gonna be an expensive episode for all of us. I think
it's always expensive. Today is particularly pricey.
So
here you can see the handsome folks in the group here. So
is that the only that's the only record they have, or do they have other records?
Yeah, they had a demo, and then this is their first LP. It just kind of like quietly came out last year. I feel like it hasn't really gotten a lot of attention yet. So it was another reason I wanted to, in addition to them being great friends and a great live band, I wanted to give them a little boost.
That's a great pick.
But yeah, really powerful stuff. I've been listening to it a ton lately. Just every detail about this record is really impeccably done.
When you say Susie, when you say like Susie and the Cure, is it like Susie because like the vocals or the music and the Cure vocals? Like, what's the?
Yeah, I would say like more like that early Cure sound specifically, like that real like driving bass kind of on like the early records. And then like Susie is like definitely in the vocals, definitely in some of like the guitar arrangements. Especially like the earlier Susie material. I would say like everything up until like the Hyena record. Like when Robert Smith was playing guitar with them too. Like I feel like that was like definitely an influence on this group. But they're definitely everyone in the band comes from a punk background, so I think they're really bringing that punk vibe to it. But you can tell they all really love goth music, really wholeheartedly, and they're really delivering the goods very well.
I love that. All right,
yeah.
I love going to those kinds of. I was
great.
No,
I was talking about this band the other day, and they're not to be confused with The Ire that was on Crime Think Records. It's a totally different band. So somebody asked about that the other day. So just so that is clear.
Yeah, thank you for that, because that's what I was like. Oh, yeah, they're still around. I'm like, oh, okay.
And if you guys like upgraders, you into that? You into like upgrading records that you already have? Do you do that much?
Yeah.
Oh, I've definitely bought better copies of things that I just bought that new reissue of the Wipers Over the Edge. I just got that because it blew the copy I had out of the water. So
yeah, I'd say that because I feel like I've just upgraded one of my favorite records. One of the records I've been listening to a lot in the last 10 years or so. It's a Philly band from like 1979. And I think this band is kind of the roots of like egg punk more than Devo, in fact. I think this is kind of quite a well-known band, but this record, man, I love it. It's the Reds.
Yes! Motherfucking yes!
I knew you'd like it. Yeah.
I'm behind you on that, 100%.
Right. I mean, it's like when I first was listening to like Jay Retard and like the Red Dons and the Mark Mess. Hang on a minute, this kind of sounds. This sounds kind of like this record.
Oh,
you can definitely hear like the lineage there, and even with that like Aborted Tortoise record, that's much more frantic. But you can hear bits of that on this record.
Yeah,
I grew up like right outside of Philly. I've never heard of the Reds. Like,
is that not 5 Day Month. That's a spot. Like, what are the hits on that? What are the songs on
Well, actually, there was a couple of singles from this. It's like Joey was a single, I think.
Yeah.
Self-Reduction. What You're Doing to Me is like the most aggressive punk song on this record.
Is Victim on that one?
It is. It's the first track, Victims. Yeah, that song right there is just worth the price of admission. Right, even
100%.
Man, it's like
good.
It's one of the. I mean, even like I'm just talking about it, like the hairs on my arms are standing up. It's like one of those kind of songs. It's anthemic, punchy. You know, it's man. I mean, this is like basically like a power pop new wave band, but there's more to it than that. It's darker.
Yes.
It's not a heavy record. But the guitars are kind of a little bit heavy rockish in places, and there's solos. There's guitar solos in this record.
That's getting that song right now.
That particular song, Victim, the way it goes like, bam, 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 like they just do full like the back and forth spectrum of that is like ear piercing, and then just like it's fucking crazy.
This is an absolute classic. I mean, it came out on A&M in like 1979. They had a big producer, this guy David Kirschenbaum, who's done like Tori Amos, Supertramp. It's a big production too on this record.
But then like the second or third record like was like locally done.
Yes, well, they got dropped. They got dropped by A&M. You know, this record didn't do any business. You can find this. I'm sure you can find this record in the dollar bin anywhere.
Yeah, 100%. If you pay more than $2, it's like
keep an eye out. Find two.
It came on green vinyl on a major label in like 1979.
Wow, that's cool.
Which is weird because they're called the Reds, right? And like
they dropped the ball on that, didn't they?
They going for like a Christmas theme, maybe?
I don't know, green and red and brown on the color scheme.
But I'm telling you, this record is a classic. If you like, I mean, it is kind of power pop, right? But it's harder edge, and it's kind of dark as well.
It's very dark, very harder edge, very over underlooked. I had a YouTube channel for a while that got canceled because of some fucking New Jersey shitty band got mad at me. But the guys from the Reds, I like posted some Red songs. I'm like, hey, here's a Reds something that I'm looking for. If anybody has any info, and their manager got in contact with me and was like, hey, yeah, these are the guys from the Reds. They still have a box of these records. If you want any, like, just email. I'm like, hell's yes. And I think it was the Joey single that I needed. And I contacted them and they sent me them. But like, yeah, great band. Great.
The single version is different to the album versions. The single version is even like a bit rawer than the LP version.
Yeah.
But man. And I heard like they have a bunch of albums after this. I hadn't heard any of them. And then they became a duo at some point down the road. And they did like soundtracks. They had like music on Miami Vice and all that kind of stuff. Like down the line. Yeah. So, but that kind of tells you something. That these guys were good songwriters. They could make some good tunes. And my upgrade, is it an upgrade? I got the Japanese pressing with the Obi and everything. That's
Mike. Seriously, that's a great record. Like I like all of their records, but that like has some really. There was a you guys know the band the Obits?
Just the name, yeah. Obits, yeah.
Whatever. It's like a bunch of old like scenester dudes. Maybe one or two of them thinking they have more value than they do, but they were looking for like, hey, we're trying to like work a cover into our set. And I'm like, hey, here's a cover you should do. And it was a song by the Reds, and I sent it to them. And they're like, it's not quite our style. I'm like, you fucking sound like this band. Like you fucking sound like them. Maybe you don't think you do because you like think that you're hardcore or different or sub pop or whatever. But like you guys sound like these guys. This is a great fucking cover.
It was quite an eye opener when I heard this record because I was like, oh, all these bands, like these newer bands that I've been listening to. I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here. You're like doing what these guys were doing in like 1917.
And it flopped, which is why everybody can find it for like $1.
Yeah, you can find it easily. And it has keyboards on it, but the keyboards are amazing. They don't get in the way.
Everybody seems to shit on keyboards, but
they work really, really well. It's weird because you know, like the Bloister Cult album, Fire of Unknown Origin, which is a favorite of mine. Yeah. The keyboards have that kind of sound to them, that kind of tone and feel, and it works really, really well. But it's like obviously predates that album. But anyway, classic album to finish off today's episode with. So if you haven't heard the Reds, check them out and check out all the records that are being shown today because there was some good stuff shown today. Right?
I'll definitely have to head down to the Philadelphia Record Exchange and see if I can find some copies of that in the dollar bin.
I don't think it'll be too hard to find a copy of that Reds album.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
You could probably get it on Discogs right now, and it'd cost you more to have one mailed to your house.
That's for the actual record.
I know, right? Yeah, I'm in Philadelphia. Might as well start local, right?
Yeah. It'd be like 35 cents for the record, but like $18 to mail.
So you guys,
I've bought records like that before.
Steve and Cliff, first time hearing about this record?
Yeah.
First
time hearing that on my record.
I lived in Philly for like 10 years, and I never heard of that record.
Yeah, it's
but I was more like the crust and metal stuff than that kind of stuff when I was living in Philly.
Right.
The power pop stuff is like kind of new to me. Like the last like 7-8 years or something, I've been getting into that kind of stuff, and I've always been into like punk and hardcore stuff and heavy metal, death metal, that kind of stuff.
There was I feel like there was a theme in the early mid 80s of like 5 being a key thing, like 5-second warning. Like there's songs that have 5, and I think the second Reds album has a song called 5-Year Plan that's really great. And then like the Kamikaze Refrigerators had like a 5-day month. And then there's another, like there was like 5 is like a reoccurring theme, and I always kind of wanted to put together just a compilation of all of these songs I mentioned, like 5, no matter how obtuse and weird the song goes. Either it's a hardcore 30-second song or like some new wave song. But I remember like in that genre, that era of music, 5 seemed to be this key thing within describing time and how much time they had and what it was. But have you checked out the second Reds record?
I haven't gone. It's weird. I haven't gone beyond this one. Should I? Second one's good too.
I don't know. You find it for $2, then why? Right. Like why not? Like
just get it for $2. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there you go, Paul. There goes our dollar bin mindset again. Like just like, hey, you find it for $2. You might as well just pick it up.
Dude, you're gonna go down to Wax Atlas and you're gonna be like, I want all of these.
Yeah.
it's probably like a Reds bin.
I did that a week ago because they had a sale where they were doing 2 buy 2 get 1 free, and I ended up coming up home with like 20 records, and I was like, these are what I want. I did trade in a bunch, so I only spent $8 that day. So but I ended up coming home with 22 records for $8, and I was like, all right, even if these are crap, I spent $8. It doesn't matter.
I like that. I like that style of collecting. I'm a fan of it.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I love the adventure in it. Like, I don't know, he's got a piano tie on, but that guy's got a leather jacket. They thank some people with weird names.
I gotta grab at least like 2 of these records I bought just for the cover.
Do it. Go do it.
Go on then. We'll go in front of them.
But it's like
I got 2.
There's that point where you like read the back and you're like, who's on the thanks list? Suicidal tendencies on the thanks list. Like, okay, like I'll give these guys a shot. Like, okay, maybe it's horrible, but it's fucking worth a shot. Like to call somebody out like that.
Well, this one's pretty good, but this is a fucking sick cover, and the album name is Satan.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong. And Sonny said I knew he was a jazz guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, it can't be that bad. And it's pretty good. It's not the best thing I've ever heard.
Okay.
But it's okay.
However,
but
it would be great if
it
was Satan like dedicating an album to like one dude.
A dude smoking a cigarette.
Right back at you, Sonny.
And this one's like funky jazz fusion, but it's still like, look at that album cover, dude.
Oh,
wow. That is a stone.
This shit actually rules.
It's a stone. It's a classic, absolute classic.
Yeah, this shit rules.
Lenny White.
And I spent. Hold on, the price tag's not on it anymore. I think it was $1 or $2.
I love that record.
It's fucking good.
Yeah.
It's real good.
What do you like about that?
Funky jazz fusion.
I mean, it's real jazz fusion, but it's like off the charts. Lenny White is just this incredible drummer, and it's like
there's a
spacey, a little bit.
Yeah. There's enough like space funk in here where it like makes it fun and not like too like I'm jerking off on my guitar jazz fusion, you know what I mean?
Are there any shred metal organ solos on that record?
Yeah, I would say.
No, it's more funky, like kind of like a mix between like I don't even know what to call it, but there's like it's just really funky, like jazz fusiony stuff, like
It's
like
very, very 70s.
Korea and like a Chick Korea and like Funkadelic mixed together type
That's
deal.
good.
Wow. I'm still having a problem with jazz. I'm trying to work through it. Yeah.
You're not listening
This is
to
what we
the
talked about
space
on the
between the
first-
notes, are you, Paul?
Yeah, it's a space between the notes. I'm like, well, just don't play any of them, and we'll all be happy then, right? Like, but I'm still like,
All right,
but
let's wrap this up. We'll keep chatting after I end the stream. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Cliff. Great episode today, wasn't it?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. lot
wait,
of
so we're
lot
staying,
of stuff to check out.
so
for
we're
sure.
staying, so we're staying on for a couple minutes after we.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah.
All right, perfect.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Good
Check
night,
out all
everybody.
these records we've been recommending to you, and I'll see you next week. You know what? I forget who's coming on next week. I think Charles is coming on next week.
Ron Grimaldi, Charles Maggio, Andrew Orlando.
That's it. Thanks, mate. So, see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in. Stay healthy and stay clean.